Tucker Carlson, in a bizarre moment, coming back from the Putin humiliation during his 2-hour interview with Putin in Russia. Whoa, that clip started a little early. Going to Dubai for the World Government Summit and kissing the ring, seemingly, saying Moscow, depending on your preference, is a better and nicer city than any city in the United States of America. Wow. Putin really is now in full control of Tucker Carlson. Putin humiliates Tucker, makes him sit through an hour history lesson, ridicules him for not having a serious program, for having applied to the CIA. And what does Tucker do? He says that Moscow's better than any American city. You've got to see this.
What was radicalizing, very shocking and very disturbing for me was the city of Moscow, where I'd never been, the biggest city in Europe, 13 million people. And it is so much nicer than any city in my country. I had no idea. My father spent a lot of time there in the 80s when he worked for the US government and barely had electricity. And now it is so much cleaner and safer and prettier aesthetically. It's architecture, it's food, it's service than any country, city in the United States that you have to, and this is not ideological. How did that happen? How did that happen? And at a certain point, I don't think the average person cares as much about abstractions as about the concrete reality of his life. And if you can't use your subway, for example, as many people are afraid to in New York City because it's too dangerous, you have to sort of wonder, like, isn't that the ultimate measure of leadership? And that's true, by the way, it's radicalizing for an American to go to Moscow. I didn't know that, I've learned it this week, to Singapore, to Tokyo, to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Because these cities, no matter how we're told they're run and on what principles they're run, are wonderful places to live that don't have rampant inflation, where you're not going to get raped.
Sir,
excuse me. What is that?
Now, there's a lot here. I will be the first to tell you that there are fantastic cities all over the world. The American-centric view that the vast majority of the non-US world is relegated to some dark ages where there's barely plumbing and electricity and you can't get good medical care. That should be debunked, obviously completely untrue. World-class cities all over the world. It is also true that Tokyo and Singapore and Moscow, I mean, all of these places have great things. But it's laughable the degree to which Tucker, I don't know if knowingly or as a useful idiot, plays into the Putin narrative, which is, hey, even Americans come here and say Moscow's better than any city that they've got. Now, Moscow is a great city. It is not untrue that it has fantastic things. And also, the average income in Russia is $14,000 and the standard of living is much lower than in the United States. And the idea that, hey, you know, we've got democracy here in the United States and our cities suck, and Russia has this authoritarian strongman and it's just so great. It's a better city than anywhere in the US. And also, when Tucker mentions the nicest city in Europe or whatever, that's also playing into a political controversy. And what I mean by that is certainly Moscow is geographically in Europe, and I would argue it is politically in Europe. But this is also part of Putin's desire to see Russian culture and Moscow as a cosmopolitan center as equivalent to London or Paris or whatever. And we can debate whether it is or it is not. I think it falls a little bit short of that. But Tucker just hand feeds Putin everything that he wants. So I am not here to allege that Tucker is a Russian puppet or anything along those lines. It's just been fascinating to watch that for a while now, since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Tucker has played very coy with the entire thing and kind of ignoring the basics that Russia has illegally invaded Ukraine and is trying to steal it. That's a basic element of this that Tucker isn't super interested in reminding you about. Goes to Moscow, interviews Putin for 2 hours. Putin plays him like a yo-yo. Tucker comes away saying it was a fascinating interview when the reality is it was barely even a journalistic endeavor. I would argue it wasn't even a journalistic endeavor. And then he leaves and says, Moscow's the best city I've seen. It's so much better than anything that we have in the United States. He's certainly doing all the things that if you were Putin and you said, who can we get from the United States media elite to just do exactly what we would want them to do? Well, it seems like they got Tucker, and Tucker is doing all of those things. So I don't know if it's all beyond Tucker to even realize the role he's being put in. I don't really know what to make of it. And far be it for me to say that Tucker is in the pocket of Putin. I don't think that it's sort of like the RT thing. The people that were hired by RT were hired because they already knew the things that they were going to say. The entire selection of Tucker, now we see beyond any doubt whatsoever, was very strategic and specific, and Tucker's doing everything they want him to do. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know in a comment. Let me know in an email, info@davidpakman.com. We'll take a very quick break and be right back. I've had such trouble finding a great razor where I am not cutting myself or getting those nicks on my skin, which are so common with the cheap disposable razors. You have to meet our sponsor, Henson Shaving. Henson actually manufactures parts for the International Space Station and the Mars rover, and they are bringing that exact same precision engineering to the shaving experience. It hurts when you shave because blades extend too far and thus they wobble slightly. But with their aerospace grade CNC machines, Henson is able to make metal razors that extend just 0.0013 inches. That's less than the thickness of a human hair, which means a secure, stable blade with a vibration-free shave. It also has built-in channels to evacuate the hair and the cream. No more clogs, no more rubbing your thumb on the razor to get the hair out. I use Henson at home. Shaving is a great experience now. Henson wants to be the best razor, not the best razor business, which means you only need to buy it once and it's awesome. Go to hensonshaving.com/Pakman, add a razor and a 100-pack of blades to your cart, then enter the code Pakman to get the 100 blades for free. That is a 3-year supply. The link is down below.